Hi everyone, welcome to Lola's Frugal Life. This is episode number 295. This is actually my 2-year anniversary episode. So for today, we're going to be talking about the impact of progress over perfection. So please stick around for a few quick words from our sponsor and we'll get right into the show. Hi everyone. So this morning, today is the day this episode came out, Monday. I just noticed that the first half of my audio for this episode is gone. I don't know what I did wrong, but it showed only as 1 second because I recorded it in a couple of segments. So I'm re-recording the beginning part of this episode. I don't remember exactly what I talked about the first time. I know that I had started out with explaining that this episode was going to be a little bit shorter because I didn't do my normal notes and preparation like I normally do. This is my 2-year anniversary episode, and I had decided to do the topic of progress over perfection. And it became really appropriate for this week because this week was a crazy, crazy busy week, and I was not going to be able to do my normal prep like I normally do, which I believe I talk about in the next segment that still remains in this podcast, the part that's still there. But I have used the I don't know what you call it. It's not like a mantra, but like just the whole idea of progress over perfection. Like once I kind of heard about that and it clicked, it has been so helpful to me in so many ways just to be able to get things done when things get crazy or when I just want things a certain way, but I don't know how to do it quite right. So that's why it worked out perfectly that this week I chose progress over perfection to use for my 2-year anniversary episode. Because I just felt like, how perfect is this? There's no way I'm going to be able to get this episode done. I was really going crazy trying to think, how am I going to do this? I've got no time. I've got all this stuff going on this week, and I don't know what to do. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to record an episode and talk a little bit about why progress over perfection has helped me so much. And even like with this whole podcast, like, so I started this podcast, like I said, this is my 2-year anniversary. So I started this podcast 2 years ago, and I started it during the beginning of the pandemic because, you know, we were all home and I had a lot of extra time, and it was something I had kind of always thought about. And I was like, all right, I'm going to start a podcast. I've always wanted to do this. I downloaded the Anchor app and I just started recording. And as you know, now and back then, it's never been perfect. I still kind of try and figure things out as I go along. I just started recording, and I kind of had like some ideas in my mind of what I wanted to do. You know, the Lola's Frugal Life name was supposed to be, it was going to be just Lola's Life. And then I decided to call it Lola's Frugal Life because I wanted to kind of focus on frugality, but I still wanted to keep in all like those other life type things, like organizing your life and cleaning your home and just all these different things. And some of the episodes I laugh like when I hear them because they're just so random and just different things that I tried, you know, like I was doing, trying to do like some fly lady stuff and clean with me's and fold laundry with me and just all these different things. And they definitely weren't perfect, and I just tried and I have kept going, and it's been 2 years and I've had episodes every single week. And if I had tried to be perfect about it, I probably would have stopped a long time ago because there's been many other weeks where I just really struggled with what to do or how to do it perfectly. And some weeks I'm really happy with how the episodes come out. And other weeks when I'm done recording, I think, wow, I really wish that was done a little bit better. But I just have to accept that I'm doing the best that I can. And that is why progress over perfection, I chose that topic for this episode, for my anniversary episode, because it's something that really means a lot to me, and it's helped me so much in so many different areas of my life. So this is kind of just like me trying to record a new intro of what I originally said, because I don't remember what I originally said, and I have no idea what happened to my audio, and this has never happened to me before. So this will now continue on to the second half of the episode that I recorded. So I hope that you can kind of just try and use this progress over perfection mindset wherever you're struggling with something that you'd really like to get done and you're not doing it because you feel like you just don't know exactly how to do it or don't think you have time to do it. Sometimes even if you just get started and say, all right, well, I don't know if I can even complete this or if I know how to complete this, but I'm just going to start it and just see where it goes from there.
So I don't think I mentioned this yet already, but the whole reason actually this week that I am not doing a normal episode like I would normally do where I have better notes and make sure I cover everything that I want to cover and do a blog post. I can't do the blog post this week because I could barely even get an episode together this week, which is why I decided to just come on and talk and explain why I love this progress over perfection so much, why it has helped me so much, and how it has helped me through this podcast and so many other things. And I thought it would be great for my anniversary episode for the 2-year anniversary. But the reason why I'm struggling this week is because it's Easter this Sunday. When this comes out, it'll be the Monday after Easter. But when I'm recording this, Easter's coming this Sunday. I have my family coming, like a bunch of people coming for Easter on Sunday. And I usually would prepare everything on Saturday, not like prepare everything, but get the house all neat, like clear the things that I wouldn't keep on the counters because there's going to be food out, just like all that kind of like preparation for when you're having something at your house. I normally would do that the day before. So my daughters got tickets to see a Broadway musical in New York City on Saturday, the Saturday before Easter. I didn't realize when we got the tickets that the tickets were for the Saturday before Easter. So we're going to be gone all day on Saturday, and then Sunday's Easter. So then I took off Friday so that I could do stuff on Friday to prepare. And then it turns out that my one daughter who works at the boardwalk has to work from 11 to 6, and I have to drop her off and pick her up, and it's like a 20 to 25 minute drive each way. And then my other daughter has to work 4 to 9:30, and I have to drive her and pick her up both ways. And that one's only about like a 15-minute drive, but still it's like a half hour each round trip. And then one of my horses was supposed to have their hooves trimmed last week, but she wound up having to go to the vet because she hurt herself and couldn't get her hooves trimmed because she was too sore that day. So we had to reschedule that farrier appointment for 12 o'clock on Friday, which is today when I'm recording this. So I've got all this running around to do, and I thought by taking off work today on Friday, I could use today to do my preparation for Easter. So basically, I'm going to have some time in between, and I'm going to do the best that I can, but I'm kind of stressing about like getting ready for Easter. So between all this stuff going on today and then being in the city all day tomorrow, and then all these people are coming to my house Sunday at 1 o'clock, I was just thinking like, how on earth am I going to get the podcast recorded too, and all this with all this stuff going on? And then I thought to myself, well, I'm doing an episode on progress over perfection. So why am I going so crazy, like insisting that I have to do it a certain way and make sure I have the blog post and, make sure I have my images and whatever. Like nobody's going to care if there's no blog post. I don't even think hardly anyone comes and sees my blog post anyway. So it's fine if I skip a week. So that's the whole thing about progress over perfection. Like just kind of reminding yourself that everything doesn't have to be like exactly a certain way. You can scale back and do things a little bit differently when you need to make yourself not go so crazy over like making sure everything's just right. And even like the same with Easter, I'm like, you know what, there might be some spots that I miss dusting or sweeping or whatever, but my family's not coming here to judge my house for Easter, and I just have to think it's fine. We'll all have fun. When everyone's here eating, like I'll be happy, and none of it will even matter, but it's just like that approach up to it that I have to just keep reminding myself it doesn't have to be perfect. I'll do whatever I can do, and I'll prep whatever I can prep, and it'll be fun, and we'll have a great time. And it's just kind of reminding yourself that doing those little things, doing what you can do, is better than going crazy trying to make things perfect. And then often when you try and make things perfect, you don't do anything, because if you know you can't make it perfect, you might not do it at all. Like, for example, with even, like I said, with recording this episode, I could have wound up getting myself under a ton of stress by making sure I had all my detailed notes and getting my blog post prepared and all that kind of stuff, where instead I said, you know what, I'm just going to record this and not worry about it. It's not going to be perfect, but I have time right now to get this done before I get into all of my cleaning and meal prep and all that kind of stuff for the upcoming holiday. So I'm just going to do this now. And that's actually the whole point of the topic anyway. So why am I going to go crazy trying to get ready for this podcast episode when the whole point of the episode is to talk about the fact that choosing progress over perfection makes your life so much more simple and easier. And I really do, I actually, and I know I've said this before too, but I actually say it to myself, like while I'm actually doing things. Like if I'm in the middle of scrubbing a shower or wiping up the kitchen counter or cleaning the stove or whatever, and say I'm like, I don't know, maybe cleaning the stove and I have like spots on my stovetop that will never come off. I try everything. I've spent so much time with different products and I just can't get them off. And, sometimes I'll look at it and think like, why did I just spend this much time? And it looks exactly the same. But then other times I will be wiping off the stove, say, and I'll give a little effort in a spot. And if it doesn't come off, I just move on. And I literally tell myself like progress over perfection. Like, don't sit here spending so much time to try and get this one little thing done when you have so many other things to do. It looks better had you not done anything. So it's not worth looking at the stovetop and saying, I'm not really going to put any effort into it because I know I won't get it the way I want it to be. I'll just put an appropriate amount of effort and move on and do something else instead of trying to always make sure everything is exact. It's better to get something done than not do it at all. So that goes for so many things. I mean, in regular work, like in my job, sometimes you have those things where you aren't sure like exactly how to approach it. So you'll put it off for so long, where you just keep writing it on your to-do list over and over again because maybe you don't know quite how to approach it. And then I find so many times with those kinds of things, once I actually decide like I'm just going to do this, it winds up being so much easier and takes so much less time than I was expecting it to take, that I'm like, why didn't I just do this when I first got it on my list instead of rewriting it like 20 times. So it's a lot of times it's just about like approaching something and just reminding yourself it doesn't have to be perfect. Even if you don't know how to do it, just start. And often it'll wind up being so much easier than you thought it would be, because we kind of like build these things up in our mind sometimes and think that things are so much more complicated than they're going to be. Or are going to take so much more time, or that we need to get them done just right, and we really don't have to. I know, like, I do this too a lot of times with phone calls at work. Like, if someone wants to have a call to discuss something, sometimes this isn't really like progress over perfection, but it's still just like that same mindset thing. I'll have a call scheduled. Someone wants to talk about some specific topic they have questions on, and I build up in my mind that they're going to ask these like ridiculously complicated questions that I'm not going to know how to answer. And then when I have the call, it's like such a little like issue was so easy and that I knew how to answer like instantly, that I think like, why do I do this? Why do I like build these things up in my mind that I think everything's going to be so much more complicated than it really is? And it's kind of that same thing with the progress over perfection, where we think like it has to be so much more complicated, it has to be so perfect, and it doesn't have to be. You can decide what level of done something needs to be, and if while you're doing something you decide to go a little bit further, that's fine, but don't hold yourself back from doing something just because you can't get it done right. It's all about just keep going, like just do something. Doing something is better than doing nothing. So you're always better off doing something towards some task or project or something that you want to get done than overthinking and trying to make sure that you can figure out the perfect way to get it done. So I think that's all I'm going to say about this topic today. I hope that I made my point. Like I said, I am really short on time this week. I will have a normal, more organized type episode next week. I know I just kind of rambled a little bit here, but like I said, it's a busy week just like you guys have, and I wanted to make sure I got an episode out because I've never missed an episode on a Monday yet since I started. So I did not want to miss a week just because I felt like I wasn't 100% prepared to do this episode. So as always, you can email me with any questions or suggestions at lolasfrugallife@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at lolasfrugallife. And you can find blog posts for each episode, except for this one, on my website at lolasfrugallife.com. You can also join our private listeners group at facebook.com/group/lolasfrugallife. And if you enjoy the show, please make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen from. And I would love it if you would screenshot the show and tag me on Instagram. Also, if you could take a couple of seconds to rate and review the podcast, that would be really helpful to me. Those ratings and reviews are what help the podcast have more favorable results when people are searching for this type of episode. And if you're interested, there is a link in the episode details to financially support the podcast. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a really awesome day. Are you in the mood to learn something new? Well, Skillshare is now offering 1 month free of Skillshare Premium. Unlock a passion, side hustle, or new professional skill with thousands of classes in design, business, and more. Start your 1 month free trial now by using the link within the podcast notes for this episode. There's no commitment and you can cancel at any time. So why not go ahead and learn a new skill that you have always wanted to have?